Additional aids and services are available to individuals with disabilities. To make such a request, please contact us by email, by clicking the Help tab in the PD portal, or at pdportal@tamu.edu, by phone, including Relay Texas at 1-800-441-7323, or in writing to Train PD, PD Portal Support, 4477 TAMU, College Station, Texas 77843. Both a transcript and accessible document of the content presented in this webinar can be found as resources in the course description. Click on the blue links under Course Resources in the description. When a link is clicked, a new browser window will open.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, and I welcome you once again to this Tech and Tell entitled Walls Really Can Talk. And the message those walls have for us today is all about an interactive website for creating engaging lessons and activities for our AEL learners, including those in ESL, adult basic education, adult secondary education, GED and HSC classes, as well as IET classes. The website is very appropriately called Word Wall, and our objectives for today are to discuss the features of Word Wall and how the application works. We will experience Word Wall activities hands-on, not just me demonstrating, but you also will have the opportunity to interact with the learning resources. And we'll also dialogue about how to create our very own activity templates for our classes. Now, before we launch into a detailed description of Word Wall, I'd like for you to get a feel for what it's like to do a Word Wall activity. So we're going to use one of the available templates for our first activity. I am going to ask you to respond to a few get acquainted questions. But the catch is that you have to figure out what the questions are before you can respond. Here's what I mean. These are the words to the first question. Oh no, but look, something's wrong with this picture. The words are not in order. I need your help to put them in the correct order so that we can respond to the prompt. So help me out now. In the chat box, tell me, what is the first word in this question? Thank you, Brenton. Brenton says which? Oh boy, look what happened. WordWall gave me some positive feedback with that green check mark, and also it turned the background of the word to a color. When WordWall turns the background to a different color in this particular template, the application is telling us that we are on the right track. Woohoo! All right, now I need more help. What's the second word in this question? Oh, looks like everyone is saying digital, so I'm going to move digital over here. Oh, look what happened. I got another green check and the word digital turned to green. That means I'm on the right track. All right, it's time for the next word. Help me out. What's next? Tell me in the chat box. Wow, you guys are on the ball. The next word is learning. Excellent. Another green check, and the background is turned green. Now, I'm going to go out on my own this time, and I'm going to say the next word is use. Oh no, look what happened. Absolutely nothing. So when WordWall doesn't make any change, that's the application's way of letting us know we didn't answer correctly. But this is a very, very user-friendly application, and it will allow me to try again and again and again until I have the correct answer. Now we have the complete question. So please tell me in the chat box, Which digital learning tools do you currently use with your AEL classes? Is there a particular app or a particular learning resource that you use with your students? USA Learns, great. Aztec, Brenton says, great. Patricia says Aztec as well. I see a Burlington up there. Essential Ed, Lori says. Excellent. Burlington, Mariela says. Angela says Burlington as well. David, Aztec, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Hopefully, after today, you will want to add WordWall to your list of digital tool resources. Judy adds that she uses Padlet and Wakelet, and is it Ebony adds that she uses Kahoot. Excellent. Let's decipher another jumbled sentence. All right, here's our second question. I need help again. What's the first word in this question? Tell me in the chat box, please, so I can see WordWall at work. Ooh, I have 2 people saying have, 3 saying have. Okay, let's put have at the beginning. Look what happened. Another green check. And this time, WordWall is giving me some love with the color pink. Woohoo! We're on the right track, guys. All right, what's the next word? All right, so I'm seeing some U's. Okay, let me put U in there. Ooh, another green check, 2 pink backgrounds now. All right, so what about the third word? Angela says ever, Norma says ever, Lori says ever, Mariela says ever. I'm going with ever. Hey, yeah. All right, I'm feeling confident now, so I'm going to try to finish this off for us so we can see the question. Have you ever used WordWall maybe? Yeah, WordWall, yes, in any of your AEL classes. Yay, we have the question. Well, hopefully, guys, after today, the next time someone asks you that question, you will say yes. Now, as you can see from the first 2 activities that we have done, WordWall is an interactive online application that allows teachers to create interactive activities. These activities are created using a variety of templates. The template that we just used is called the unjumble template because it presents jumbled sentences, and then learners have to unjumble them by putting the words in the correct order, just as we did. WordWall activities may be shared and played individually by students, or they can be teacher-led and played as a class with learners taking turns on a smartboard that might be at the front of the classroom. Additionally, when a WordWall activity is assigned to students individually, teachers can track their progress and results. Today, we are going to focus on using, creating, and sharing WordWall activities. WordWalls are created using templates. We've seen only one template so far. With a free teacher's account, you may select 5 different templates from the gallery of 18. And you see the 18 available templates here on the screen. They range from your classical quiz type activity and crossword puzzle type activity to gamified exercises like a maze chase or the airplane activity where you have an airplane flying overhead and you have to interact with the problems or the questions. Let's look at a few more templates. Let's look at the matchup template. Now, as you can see from the description, matchup is a drag and drop activity. So students can match words to definitions. They can match math equations to answers. They can match affixes to roots. They can even match words to pictures. And we'll talk about how to include pictures in our presentations as well. Here's a matchup template. that I created for a group of my ESL students who are working on prefixes. So I'm going to expand the screen and watch how I do this, because the next activity I share for you, if it's in the minimized screen, you'll want to click those 4 arrows to maximize it so that you get the full effect. Here you see the prefixes on the left and the root words on the right. Students would drag and drop the prefixes next to the correct root words. And I see a question in the chat box. It says, are the 5 free templates attached to your email? If so, teachers could use several different emails, correct? Absolutely. So if you set up your account, and link it to your Google account, and you have several Google accounts, then you can use them all and kind of work the system that way. All right, so that's a good question, Anne-Marie. And that way you get access to more templates. All right, so help me out again, guys. I need to match these prefixes to these root words. So which prefix will I put with ploy, power, and brace? Angela says M. Lori says M. All right, I'm going to follow Angela and Laura. Norma agrees. Okay, what about migrate and part? Where do I go? Where do I go with migrate and part? Immigrate. Oh, impart, Angela says. Thank you, Angela. All right, what about wait and developed? Under, Norma says. Dicadian says under. I know that's not your name, but that's what I see on the screen. Mariella says under. Great. All right. What about natural and abundant? Natural and abundant. I have an I have a super. Let's see. I'm going to go with a super this time because I got another super. Oh, lots of supers now. Great. Thank you, guys. What about treat and turn? Treat and turn. Angela's saying go with the re. She's saying go with the re. All right. Treat and turn. All right. So I'll go with re on that one. And now where do I go? What about typical, 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 atypical? Okay, that sounds good. Cooked, grown, flow. Cooked, grown, flow. Oh, over, yeah. I've overcooked some things a time or two before. Marine, missive, I'm going with sub there. And these last two, I'm going to purposely get wrong so that you can see how WordWall gives feedback for incorrect answers. So notice now we've completed the activity. We're going to hit submit. Ooh, checks, yay, checks, yay, checks, yes, checks. Oh, I got 2 X's. After you finish an activity, just as you experienced with the first link I shared, WordWall gives you a summary of your performance. It tells me that I got 8 of 10 correct and that it took me 3 minutes to complete the activity. It also says that I'm first on the leaderboard. Now, this leaderboard works kind of like the leaderboard in Kahoot. So the one who answers in the fastest time with the most accurate is first on the leaderboard. And then the person who answers with the next highest speed or fastest speed and the most correct answers is second, and so on and so on. As the instructor who creates the activity, you have the option of disabling the leaderboard if you don't want the students to feel like they're competing against each other, or enabling it if you want to make the activity competitive. Notice that learners may also start the activity all over again if they didn't do well the first time, or if they just want to continue to practice to aid in retention. Again, as the instructor, you have the option of enabling the start again function or disabling it. And we're going to walk through all of those steps of setting up an activity in just a little while. But what other concepts could be practiced using that type of template? think of your classes. What is something that you do, that you teach your learners, that you could set up on that template? All right, so some of the ideas, suffixes, absolutely, Laurie. Vocabulary development, word and meaning match. Perfect, Ebony. Vocabulary, yes, Mariella. Suffixes, yes. Math or history problems, Judy, yes. Yes, synonyms, maybe even subject-verb agreement. That's an excellent idea, Brenton. Excellent. You can add picture prompts to these templates to construct your learning activities. This activity and the one that you're about to do, both of them come from the gallery or the library of teacher-made activities in WordWall. So what that means is whenever someone who has a WordWall account creates an activity, they have the option of keeping it private so that they can only use it with their students, or making it public. And if they make it public, that means that anyone with a WordWall account can access it and share it with other people. So the activity you did here with the pictures and this math activity, both of them were created by teachers somewhere in the United States or beyond, and they chose to make it public. Let's look at group sort, the one that's right underneath. Now, group sort is also described as a drag and drop activity. However, it's different from matchup because this is designed for lessons where you want learners to classify words, objects, or concepts. For example, I'm going to show you one that is on the ready-made that comes from the library of activities in WordWall. This one is on nouns and verbs. So here, you simply have to sort the nouns into the correct column and the verbs into the correct column. So playground is a noun, rabbit is a noun, swing is a verb. It's also a noun, but they're showing the action, so it's a verb for this activity. Basket, we're going to say that doctor is a verb because we want to get one wrong just to see what happens. Castle is a noun. We're going to say that eat is a noun, although it's not, but we want to see what happens if we get one wrong. So sleep is a verb, fireman's a noun, ride is a verb, give is a verb. All right, I've finished the activity. And so the next step is to submit the answers. Oh, check, 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 check. Oh no, it's giving me a couple of X's. And as it did before, it's going to give me a summary of my performance. It tells me I got 12 of 14 correct, took me 46.7 seconds to finish. Now, watch what happens when I click show answers. It shows me the answers that I selected. Now, if I click correct answers, it shows me the answer key, what I should have selected. And I can compare that by clicking my answers and looking at what I selected. So that option is there. If I press back, then it just takes me back to the summary screen. I'm going to show you another matchup activity that might really excite those of you in particular who are ESL instructors. So watch this. Aha, look what's going on here. If you're an ESL instructor, then you're going to, that the pronunciation of the ED at the ends of verbs can be kind of tricky for our English language learners. So this group sort requires them to categorize the verbs based on their ending. All right, so verbs that end in D and T sounds go under the ED column because you actually pronounce the ED, like floated. Those that end in a vowel or a voiced consonant, that ending sound is pronounced as a D, like snowed. And those that end in unvoiced consonants, the ED sound is pronounced as T, like asked. So they would just sort those into the correct column, and when they finish, WordWall would give them feedback. This template is called random cards, all right? It's called random cards because you have a deck of cards that randomly deals questions to you. Now, this is a great activity because the cards, as you're about to see, can be loaded with just text, just pictures, or pictures and text. So let's say you're an ESL teacher and you want to do some tell me about this picture type activities to help your students kind of prepare for post-testing. Well, random cards would be a perfect fit. You see here, you have a picture and then the questions underneath. Where are they and what are they doing? Now, this last question gives you an idea of another way you might use this template. You might use it to practice making inferences. What are your clues? All right. Here's another example. What is the problem in this picture? What do you think she will do next? So making inferences is a higher order thinking skill. And so random cards works well. If you want to shuffle up the cards, just click on shuffle and it'll mix them all up for you. You can deal the cards, or the learner can deal the cards by either clicking on the top of the deck, as I have been doing, or clicking deal at the bottom. How to make your own word wall. I'm going to show you an activity. Let's go to this activity. This is a matching activity. So this is another template. So notice that WordWall is going to mix up the cards, and then we'll start matching. Ooh, there are two girls with a soccer ball. So I'm looking for a sentence here. No, that's not a match. And there's a girl running. So let me just, oh, look, she is running. Yay! I made a match. And WordWall eliminates them. Now let's say that this matching activity is a little too advanced for my students. Well, WordWall allows you to switch templates so that you can differentiate the activities. So let's say I just want to do it in quiz format. I would click quiz and look what happens. WordWall changes my activity to a quiz. She is eating pizza. And I would just simply select the correct one and then move on to the next question. They are playing. Select the correct one. Let's say this quiz format is not what I want. I want them to find a match. Well, I would click that template and look, WordWall automatically switches it up for me. And so now I've got to find a match. She is jumping rope. Where's the picture of someone jumping rope? There it is. Let's say that this is a little boring. I want them to have some fun as they learn. So I'm going to switch it to a balloon pop, which is another template that's available. Let me expand this so you can see how it works. This is one of the gamified options. So I'm waiting. Uh-oh, here comes a train. There's a balloon. Oh my gosh. It says she is jumping rope. Oh, there she is. Bam. Oh, I missed the train. Bam. Oh, I missed the train. Let me try again. Ah, I'm just no good at this. She is jumping rope. I'm trying to get her in that train car. Yes. Yay. Woohoo. And so they could practice that way. So that's another option. When you first set up your account, it looks blank, like this page. To create an activity, you can click here, or you can click here where it says Create Activity. So I'm going to click here. It doesn't matter where you click. Then you are shown the different templates you may choose from. Now, the first 18 are the free ones. Those are the ones you have access to. There are others. They're up to 36, but you have to pay to get the remaining 18. So we're just concentrating on the freebies today. Let's say we're going to make an unjumbled template, like the one we practiced with at the very beginning of this activity. The first thing I need to do is give it a title. So let's say that this unjumble is going to be about adjective order. When I have more than one adjective in a sentence, which one goes first, which one goes next? If I want to provide additional instructions to my students, I can click here and write something like, put the sentences in the correct order based on the rules for adjectives. If I want the device, the application, to provide clues to the students to help them answer, then I can select with clues. But if I want them to do it all on their own, I'm going to leave it on without clues. And then I just start adding my content. So say my first sentence is going to be, the artist wears a pretty black wool hat, period. Then I can add another sentence. Notice here, it says I have to have a minimum of one sentence and I can have a maximum of 50. Another sentence, two small brown spotted, let's make them spotted. Spotted dogs followed, ooh, this is fun, me home from school one day last week. And then I could add another sentence. Now, if I say, no, I want this sentence to be first, I simply click here and move it up. And then I might decide, nah, that should be second. They need an easy one first, move it down. If for some reason I want to duplicate my sentences, I would just click on the duplicate option. If I decide, no, I don't want that sentence, I can just put it in the trash can. Now, once I've finished adding the number of sentences that I want, the next step would be to set up my preferences. So I click done, and now I go here. Do I want the activity to be timed? If I don't, click none. If I want a time limit, then I simply tell it how many minutes and how many seconds I want, and whether or not I want the timer to count down or to count up to the time limit. If you want it to give feedback after every word, you can click here. If you want it to give feedback after every word plus bonus points, you could click here. And that, in case you noticed when we did it before, that was the option that had been selected. It gave bonus points. If you want it to wait to give any feedback until the student has submitted the activity, you would click on Submit. Do you want your sentences aligned to the left or centered? You can choose here. If shuffling is involved, like do you want the sentences presented just as you type them in at that same order every time students do the activity? Or do you want WordWall to maybe make number 1, number 7, and make number 3, number 20? And do you want the answers shown at the end of the game? Once you've made your selections, you simply click Apply to this activity. The next step would be to set it as an assignment. Do you want the students to enter their name, or do you want them to do the activity anonymously? If you want to track their progress, then you want them to enter their names. Do you want to place a deadline on the activity? That's an option. If I want the answers to be shown at the end, I would check this. If I don't, uncheck it. If I want the leaderboard enabled, I would check this. If not, uncheck it. And if I want them to have the option to start the activity again, then I would check this. If I only want them to do it once, then I would uncheck it. Once I have those preferences set, I'm going to press Start. And now I have multiple options for how to share these activities. I can copy a link and place it in the chat box, as I've been doing today. I can share it on Facebook. If I click here, it's going to ask me to log into my Facebook account, and then a link will be embedded there. I can do the same for Twitter, or I can get a QR code for it. Once I've decided how I want to share, I click done, and they're ready to unjumble or match up or group sort, whatever the activity might be. Now, here's one more feature that I'll show you as our time is winding down. There are different themes for these activities. So this is what's called the whiteboard theme. But let's say I think that's kind of boring. I can change it to a primary theme. Now, look at what the activity looks like. If the yellow is just too much for me this early in the morning, I can change it to a neon theme. Wow. If neon is just a little too risque, I can change it to a traditional blackboard theme. If blackboard reminds me too much of maybe the 80s, then I can change it to a classical theme. That's not too exciting. Let's go to a wooden desk theme. Too many scratches on that desk. What about a corkboard theme? That's what we did earlier. Or there's also a midnight theme. So lots of flexibility in how you want to format your activities. To set up your own account, you simply go to wordwall.net. You click sign up to start creating. The easiest way to sign up is to link it to your Google account, or if you prefer not to do that, you can enter a username and password to set up your account. Let's see if we've accomplished our objectives for today. We did discuss the features of WordWall and how the application works. You were able to experience WordWall hands-on, and we dialogued at the end about how to create activity plates.
We hope you enjoyed this pre-recorded webinar. After you have passed the final test with a score of 80% or greater and have received your certificate of completion, please take a few moments to complete the course evaluation. Participant feedback helps Train PD at TCall continue to provide high-quality professional development. To leave a course feedback, please go to the completed portion of your transcript. To do this, hover over the My Learning tab and select View Your Transcript. Click on the drop-down arrow next to the word Active and select Completed. Then, click Evaluate in the drop-down menu next to the course you just completed. Please note that your feedback is greatly appreciated.